So I met Alissa 3 years ago and was fortunate. People say, well, how did you find your coach? How did you choose your coach? It was just right place, right time. And Alissa and I met, and fortunately, she was the exact right coach that I needed. For myself, what I need is a lot of work on when we talk about that softer side of the business around your thoughts and being able to think profitable thoughts. And so we've been working together for the last 3 years, and I can tell you that her practice and her insight has been instrumental in the increases that I've had in my production. And so a lot of the stuff that we actually talk about, it was interesting, there was a question earlier during the Q&A that was asked to John Adams, is the stuff that you learn from your life coach stuff that then you were able to help your clients with? And I can tell you absolutely, resoundingly yes. The book Daring Greatly, which is the book I recommended, is one that Alissa had recommended to me. And so she works with a ton of advisors throughout Northwestern Mutual. She's actually dedicated her entire coaching practice to specifically Northwestern Mutual because she loves the Northwestern Mutual family. She loves the reps, the commonalities that we have. I mean, a lot of us are wonderful people that are survivors and really great survivors. And as Alissa would say, most of us come crashing like a rocket into her life. But what I would just say is giving the time to see some of that coaching and asking yourself whether you want to invest in your own practice is something to consider. So with that, unless I miss something, I'll just toss it over to you.
Thank you, Carl, for inviting me today.
Yeah.
And I'm just delighted to be here. What would you tell me are the main pain points that you feel in your practice? Just shout them out. Underwriting. What else? What about you personally? What does underwriting cause you to feel pain about?
Well, for everyone, you work so hard, and you finally close the sale, you get the stuff in, and then, a couple of things. A, you find something out about your clients that your client may not even be aware of, depending on how medical things go. It's just the fact that the moment you start celebrating the victory, the victory is lost.
Ripped out from under. Right?
Oftentimes, yes.
Yes. So underwriting, you see, there are lots of areas about that could affect the beliefs you have about underwriting, right? Maybe that will come through in the way that you work with your clients, in the way that you feel stress-wise, energetically about your practice. So I know a lot of the big ones. Phoning, the dreaded phone, right? What about prospecting? That's a really common one where people fear that they're being rejected, people are judging them, they're too young to be able to prospect. Or maybe they're too old. Or maybe it's the wrong day of the week because people don't like Mondays. So I've heard every possible excuse and reason for not phoning, not prospecting, things that you know and are taught are the lifeblood of your practice. So I happen to know a thing or two about pain points. I'm going to tell you my Northwestern Mutual story. And while I don't work for Northwestern Mutual, I work with Northwestern Mutual people every day. So I'm front row as far as hearing what's on your mind, what's causing you pain. And the number one thing I hear is, Alissa, it is a grind. I don't know if I can keep doing this. I just need to make it to year 5. Then I have a 95% chance of survival. It's like a disease. It's terrible. Or if you make it to year 10, you can just collapse there, and apparently you'll be okay. It just doesn't seem like a way to live to me. So with my own history, and I'm going to be a storyteller because guess what? I'm an inspirer. We go back to 2009. I was working in corporate marketing, as I had for about 14 years, and I was in a grind. Every day I would hear that alarm go off, would drag myself into work, and I would go to a different hospital healthcare system in the United States every different week and talk to CEOs about healthcare marketing technology. So I was in this grind of suitcases, and I knew that I had hit rock bottom when I woke up in the night and I didn't know where I was on a business trip, and I had to turn the light on and look at the little hotel directory to see I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, apparently. So I didn't know how that had happened, where I got to the point where I was so mindlessly grinding through my life that I didn't even know what state I was in. So I knew I had to make some changes. So I actually sought out life coaching. And through the process of figuring out why I'm here on this planet, I learned that I need to help people, like for a living. Every day of my life, I want to make a difference. So I went on to become a certified life coach and was fortuitous enough to have the very first Northwestern Mutual client be, guess who? Carl Detman, what? What are the odds that I would meet Carl Detman as my very first Northwestern Mutual client? It was meant to be. And as he mentioned before, we really clicked. I'll never forget, at the end of our session, he got very earnest and he said, Alissa, you need to learn everything you can about Northwestern Mutual. And I was like, well, my life coach trainer said I just can work anywhere, that my tools work anywhere. And I was like, I don't understand. But he's like, no, but you don't understand. He said, these people are special. You are a lot like them. You're very driven. These people are very bright. They're motivated, and they're running their own companies. Learn everything you can. So you know what? I got a copy of the One Card System book. I've read it. I know all about Al Granum. I've been watching videos. I've been talking to people. I work with people full-time across the country to know everything I can about your business. So when we work together, we just jump in and we get right to the pain points, right to the grind, right to whatever is personally hurting you and causing you to not pick up the phone, to struggle, to grind. So if you can take away something today, the grind is optional. And from what I understand today, you talked about stress. Stress has a huge impact on your practice. Your practice is a mirror. It's just reflecting back whatever you're putting out. So if you're putting forth nervous, anxious, fearful energy, it's coming right back at you. If you're emotionally taking everything personally, feeling rejected, feeling like you're not good enough, guess what? You're not. Because whatever you believe is what's going to show up for you. If you don't believe that people are going to give you names when you're prospecting, why should they? You don't even believe in yourself. And the last piece I'm going to help you with today is understanding how your brain works. What the heck is going on up here? This thing is busy. 70,000 thoughts a day. Did anyone know that? 70,000. It's like Niagara Falls. So I'm here to tell you that you're not going to stop Niagara Falls. It's going to keep flowing. But here's the difference. You can either lay under Niagara Falls and let it hit you, or you can learn to step back and work with it and observe it and have it be a completely different experience. Sound good? So, topic 1, your nervous system. Does anyone wonder why they have a plastic lizard at their place seating? So some of you got the big ones, some of you got little ones. Feel free to trade. If you don't like your lizard, email me, I'll send you a new one. This particular lizard is famous. It was in the last episode or 2 issues ago of Columns. Guess whose desk it's sitting on right now? Al Shore. So apparently he insisted to the photographer that he would clear everything off of his desk except his computer and his lizard. And he would not back down on the lizard, because the lizard is now becoming a mainstay of his practice. That understanding his own nervous system, his reptilian brain, and working with it has allowed him to break through to new levels. So that is why if you look in the back issue of Columns with Al Shore looking at the sky, there's a funny little dinosaur sitting next to him. So the reason I give you this is because I want to give you something that every day you can put next to your computer, or on your car dash, or wherever you phone, to remind yourself that you have a reptilian brain. We have many types of brain matter in our minds. We also have a mammalian brain, we have a higher mind, but we will never escape the fact that there's a part of our brain dedicated to saving our life. We don't want to get rid of that. But here's the trouble. This part of our brain is this primitive. All it knows how to do is flee, fight, or just hunker down and freeze. That's it. Its job is to keep you alive, and it does a fantastic job of this. Trouble is, he's wrong most of the time. Most of the time, you're not actually in danger. But for those moments when a car might almost sideswipe yours, he helps you know whether to push the gas or the brakes. In the less than a second, you make a better choice, because this part of our brain operates very quickly. Under duress, this is the part of the brain we want working. But here's the trouble. Let's imagine that you're sitting in your office, doing your thing, a client calls. He's angry. He didn't know that deduction was coming out this month. He thought it was coming out next month, and now there's an insufficient fee on his account, and he doesn't have any money, and he is so mad at you. Anybody had something like that happen? Yeah. So what happens to you when you get that call? I'm mad at you. Anybody? Defensive? Does anybody notice physical symptoms? Shortness of breath. Anybody get sweaty? Tense? Butterflies. You guys are good. So your fight or flight response is activated by a person calling you on the phone and saying, I'm not happy with you. Do you see the hilarious irony of the fact that your body is mobilizing to either flee, fight, or go into a freeze state over a psychological threat? Is anything actually happening in your office that is causing you harm or jeopardy? I mean, look around. It's in your head. It's a perceived threat, or it's just a psychological threat to you, but there's no actual imminent danger. So this guy comes out for two reasons. First reason is lack. Not enough of something, not enough QSs, not enough in the pipeline. Oh my gosh, not enough premium. Not enough, not enough, not enough. Any kind of scarcity. Skip breakfast, the lizard already starts to worry. Is there some kind of shortage I should know about? Kind of worried about this. So your body is highly attuned to your survival needs all the time. The second thing that triggers the lizard is a sense of attack. The sense of attack is kind of like the example I gave you about the client. That attack could come in the form of someone saying that they don't want to give you a QS. They don't want to give you a referral. They're not comfortable with that. And you panic and you think, oh my gosh, what if people stop giving me referrals? That's going to choke my business. How am I going to be able to make it in this business? How am I going to be able to pay my bills? Will I be able to keep my staff? I could lose everything and end up in a van down by the river. Anyone know about Chris Farley and his van down by the river? This guy's in the van down by the river like that. He panics so quickly. So I want you to name this little critter. So each of you have one in front of you. If yours is clear, by the way, it glows in the dark. So it's still there. It's just a little invisible right now. Think of a name you could have for this little guy so that you can work with this. You cannot control the fact that your nervous system is going to get activated every day of your life. It's going to happen. What you do have control over is, what are you going to do about it? So I'm going to actually have you guys try something out. And it's a routine that I train a lot of advisors to use before you phone, before a meeting, to get yourself ready from a nervous system standpoint to be highly grounded. You see, your nervous system needs to be safe. You need to make your clients feel absolutely secure. And the reason for that is because they're coming in all likelihood, feeling a bit lizardy themselves. By the way, in this room, that's a word. You can feel lizardy. Okay, there you go, new word. So they come in and they're like, I'm in debt, and I'm worried I'm not ready for retirement. I got to pay for this kid's college, and I don't have life insurance. I know I should, right? So they're in this place maybe where they're feeling a little activated. They're feeling some lack and attack. So if they come into you and you're all like, you're judging me, how is that conversation going to be as productive as possible? Anyone been there where you're kind of feeling a little anxious, they come in anxious, and you kind of like spiral together? Sound familiar? See a lot of heads nodding. Yeah. So I want you to think about your nervous system being the leader in the room, that energetically you're going to lead the meeting. Have you ever thought about that? If your nervous system is calm, if you're sending the signal, hey, everything's okay. I'm going to take care of you. Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to lift the worries off you. You have to be coming from a place of groundedness, from feeling yourself like everything's okay. So if you're not feeling okay, job one, that is the first thing that I as a coach will look for. If you're not able to be grounded and calm with your clients, then all the other things you're doing are probably wasted. It's not that they won't work, it's just they won't work as well or as often. So get the most out of what you're already doing by taking charge of your own nervous system. So let me show you how this works. Go ahead and stand up. Now there's two poses that scientists have studied. So interestingly, they studied people who were going in for an interview. Another one of those scary things in life, right? So the people who were going into the interview did not know they were participating in this test, nor did the interviewers. So they figured out that there are two known poses that you can hold with your body that help your body help your brain. So I'm going to teach you some things today to give you a different way at this. Instead of trying to solve everything with your brain, what if you try to solve it with your body? So the first pose is called Superwoman, but we'll call it Superman if you're a man, Superwoman if you're a woman. Go ahead and put your hands on your hips, shoulders back, chin up. Just picture that cape flying behind you. It's magnificent. You feeling it? So you're going to hold this for 2 minutes. Guess what? While you're just standing around here, your cortisol levels are dropping by 20%. Bargain. Also, your testosterone levels are going up. You're getting more confident by the minute. Takes 2 minutes to get the maximum benefit of this. Well, I figure since you're just standing there anyway, why don't I throw a couple things into the mix? So the second thing I'm going to teach you is a breath that you can take. It's a very specialized breath designed to bring you out of fight or flight, which is the lizard mode, okay? And then after that, we're going to practice gratitude, because your brain can't practice thinking about gratitude and anxiety at the same time. Just mechanically won't work. So we can use all of these things to help you be very calm and to feel very good and grounded and be ready to phone, ready to prospect, ready to meet with people and close business. All right? So let's do these breaths. They're called 7-11. So when I count up to 7, you're going to draw air into your body all the way to 7. If you're not used to breathing deeply, this may feel really awkward. Just go with it. And then you're going to exhale all the way to 11. And then we're going to do that 3 times. If you're really in a bad place, like you've had a major reversal, you're in the negative, and you're just like skittering around on the ceiling, then do 3 sets of 3. If people are looking at you saying, "Are you okay?" then it's time for 3 sets of 3. Okay, so go ahead, and if you're more comfortable, close your eyes if you wish. And go ahead and inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Take a normal breath. And again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Start breathing normally again. And while you're still standing here, I want you to think in your head of half a dozen things or people or anything that you feel gratitude for. It can be anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and have a seat. So that is a 2-minute routine if you actually time it. Who has 2 minutes to do better, feel better? Yeah. How are you guys feeling right now? Do you feel any different? Be honest. Feel better? Better? How much better? Scale of 0 to 10, 10 being mind-blowingly better, 0 being no difference at all. 6? 8? Okay, so more than 50% better in 2 minutes. So if you don't have time to go to yoga or meditate or do all these things that might help us, in 2 minutes you can begin to access some things that will help you become more calm and grounded. Very simple to do, doesn't cost anything, doesn't add to your day. Carl?
So for myself, I'll actually do that exercise right before a client meeting.
Excellent.
Even if they tell me the client's there, I know I'm like, I'm not feeling the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let the client wait for 2 minutes and go through that exercise.
What difference does that make for you?
It helps me be in the right frame of mind to write business, to be able to lead the energy in the conversation versus allowing the client or my negative energy to lead.
Thank you for sharing that. So it's just a simple routine while they're waiting, or maybe before you pick up the phone, 2 minutes. Do it in the elevator. Do it while you're waiting at the microwave. Just weave it into your day, and you have that lizard to remind you that this matters. This matters as far as you, because being in a reptilian state of activation is not healthy. You have a lot of adrenaline and cortisol in your body, and over time, this has a very corrosive effect and can cause all the big scary diseases. It also can affect your sleep a lot. It can make you either sit up at night with your mind racing, unable to sleep, or just collapse into the sleep of the dead at like 6 p.m. and you're like, what's happening to me? So it can be very destructive. That way it affects digestion, any non-essential body function, immunity, reproduction. All of those are impacted by the fight or flight response because your body's saying, I'm in so much danger right now that I don't have time for immunity. All those things get backburnered because your body is literally getting ready to fight for its life. Your body makes no distinction between being chased by a bear or having a phone call with an upsetting client. It's all the same to your body. It's all equal. One last thing you can do that's so easy that I just have to teach it to you is that you can actually change your neural pathways by turning to love every time you feel fear. And since I know from talking to so many of you on the phone every day that fear is a big part of running your own business and practice when you're not really aware that that is ruling your life potentially, when you are aware that you're feeling fear, and that might take some practice to know that that's what you're going through, I want you to spend 10 seconds, just 10 seconds, feeling loved or loving another. So right now, everyone close your eyes. Think of someone who's either loving you or you can feel love toward. And I'm going to count to 10 with my hands so you can have quiet. And I want you to let this love just fill your entire body. Stop. Okay, same scale, 0 to 10. How many people feel at least 50% better? This side over here is really getting into it. You guys do? How about in the back? Yeah? So did you notice that only took 10 seconds? I mean, I'm just trying to find really quick like ninja tools for you guys so that you can bring these into any meeting. You could be sitting with a client and actually using this in that moment. Okay? So that's point one. I want you to think about you are in charge. You're the leader of your own nervous system. It is your responsibility to be the calmest nervous system in the room because if you're not, you're sending a fear and distress signal to the other humans. That's what's going on. The second thing, your emotions. Let's talk about the emotions, okay? I have this mini beach ball here to represent how most of us deal with our emotions. Do you relate? Anyone? I don't want to feel that. I'm fine. Yeah, no, how are you? Good, I'm good. Yeah. No, I'm having trouble this month. I don't have any QSs. How are you doing? No, I'm fine. I'm not fine. Anybody have that happen? Not fine. Just lose it, right? Guess what? This emotion that's trying to get your attention, it's like a beach ball being pushed under the water. It's just trying to be a flashlight. It's trying to say, I'm anger. Right now, I want you to set a boundary with someone. I want you to set a limit. I want you to set an expectation. I want you to communicate directly. That's your body's way of saying, hey, slow down a second. That anger. So the longer you ignore it, the deeper it's like you're pushing that beach ball underwater. Who's done that? Maybe with your kid. Push that beach ball way deep, and then kaboom, right? It's awesome. Comes way up. That's fun in the beach, but not so fun when you're running a practice. So if you can start to pay attention to what am I feeling right now, a couple benefits. One, you have to come back into the present moment to say, what am I feeling right now? So you're in this moment. Most of our minds spend a lot of time in the history, the past, kind of maybe regretting things, feeling bad, thinking we should have done that differently. Or we spend a lot of time in the future where we're worried. The lizard's all skittish and worried and frantically trying to figure out how to not let bad things happen. But the present moment is where you have the most control and where you can be the most calm. So part of that is asking yourself every day, what am I feeling right now? What am I feeling right now? So let's just try it. Just send that question down deep. What am I feeling right now? And just see what answer surfaces. It could be anything. What will you choose to do with the answer? That's up to you. You can just say, I know now that I feel a little tired. Okay. Or you might make a choice different to to get some rest or get a drink of water or figure out, why am I feeling sad? The more you tend to that, the less of this you're going to get. The more of this bobbing on the surface. Another thing about emotions. Has anyone ever had a client come into their office all lizardy and worked up, angry, sad, just having a bad day, and you felt like it came into you, and when they left, you felt like, wow, now I feel awful. Ugh. Show of hands. How many people feel like emotions are contagious and they have been affected? So, okay, it sounds like we need a cure here. I've got a room full of people who have the ability to take on other people's emotions. So I need someone who does not know me to come up here and be my volunteer. I know you. You look like you're getting up. You want to do it? Come on up. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to actually do a demonstration, and I'm going to need your help to do it. First, could you go out? Is that a door that he could go out of and not hear us?
Sure.
Okay, try to not hear us at all. Cover his ears up, Jim. Tackle him. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have this poor innocent person come up here. And first, I'm going to just push on his hand, okay? That's neutral, that's baseline. That's how strong I am against him, okay? And then I'm going to give you a signal. It's going to be like this, which means I want you to think every positive, happy, encouraging, kind thought you can about him. If I go like this, I want you to be all a bunch of jerks. I want you to think every nasty, mean thing you can think of. Those shoes don't match that outfit. I don't care. Be petty. Bring it. Bring all the negativity, okay? This is for science, you guys, okay? So I'm serious. I want you to see what happens, and then I'm going to teach you the remedy, okay? So, Jim Tedick, bring our victim. He really can't hear. No. Thank you, Jim. You didn't hear anything. The steps are right over here if you want to come on up here. Thank you for coming up here.
Yep.
So I want you to stand this way with your arm. Are you right-handed?
Yep.
Like this, okay? So I want you to not let me push your hand down. So I'm going to push on your hand, and I'm just going to push as strong as I can without hurting you. And you don't have to resist to the point of injury here. So
Okay.
everyone knows I'm weaker than you, so nothing to prove. Okay, ready? Go. Okay, so can you memorize what that felt like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so close your eyes for a second. Okay, so audience, begin your exercise. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. One more second. Are you ready?
Yep.
What happened?
I don't know.
Are you that tired? No, I'm kidding. So actually something did happen to you. You're an emotional sponge. So what I had them do is, for the first exercise was baseline. The second exercise, I had everyone in the audience thinking positive thoughts about you. Nice and strong. Look what happened the second time, though. They were all thinking negative thoughts about you.
Really?
I know, I'm sorry to break it to you, but they were kind of wondering about those shoes. No, I'm kidding.
Just got these shoes.
I like them. So when your hand went down like that, it's because you felt weakened by all of that negative energy. Does that surprise you?
Yes.
How about you guys? Show of hands, how many people are a little surprised? I didn't do any weird magic, I promise. You're all that susceptible in general. I've only met one person who wasn't. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix this, and then I'm going to have you practice with each other. Okay, so I'm going to show you the remedy. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of something, and this is private unless you want to share it. It could be a person, it could be a god, it could be an animal, it could be someone you love, it can be a place, it can be anything that brings you deep, deep joy, a sense of love, a sense of feeling really safe and powerful. So just bring that into your mind. I want you to take a nice, slow, deep breath. Fill your whole body up with the sense of this power that you have. And when you feel like you are like this mighty, unstoppable force, tell me and put your arm out. Okay? Now you guys bring the hate. Come on. fire up the hate machine. Everybody thinking negative thoughts? Are you anchored strongly in your place of centeredness?
I'm ready.
Okay, ready? Okay. What happened there?
God.
God. Look at how powerful that is. Did I push any differently? No. So this is so important for you guys because you can bring this into your practice every day. Without it, you're an emotional sponge. You're prone to picking up the energies. If people bring happy energies in, oh, I'm happy today. Then people bring negative energy, bad day. Take it back. You get to control what kind of day you're having. This is one way. So I want you to stand up and pick the person right next to you as a buddy. If you don't have someone right next to you, then put your hand up in the air. To thank you for being so brave, I'm going to give you a 1-hour coaching session with me valued at $300.
Hey, thank you.
Was that worth it? Okay, so I'm going to need you to listen to me, so please stop talking. Now, you, the person who is going to be doing the pushing, okay? Get ready and have the other person put their dominant arm straight out, unless you have an injury, in which case do the other arm. So whoever's going to be pushed, put the hand out. Okay? Now I want you to establish a baseline amount of strength. So when I say go, push on that hand, and person who's resisting, don't let him push your hand down, okay? Go. Stop. Okay. Now, the person who's got the hand out, I want you to close your eyes. And the pushers, I want you to look at me to know which way to send your energy. Okay? So you know the signal, right? Okay. Go ahead. Okay, now let's turn it the other way. Keep your eyes closed for those of you who are having your hand pushed. Go ahead and push. Okay, now switch partners. I want you both to first feel the difference. And then we're going to learn the tool to help you. Did that work for did anyone have trouble with that? Did that work for everyone? Weak when you were being negatively thought of and strong when it's positive? Okay. So when you're thinking negative thoughts about the other, they'll turn very weak. When you're thinking positive thoughts, they'll be nice and strong. Okay? So flip roles. And remember, let's do baseline. Go ahead and push on that hand. And just get a sense of his or her strength. All right, stop. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes if you're the one whose arm is being pushed on, so that you can't see our magic code here. All right, here we go. Send the kind of energy I just directed at the person while you push their arm. Okay. All right, so still with your eyes closed if you're having your arm pushed. This time, direct the different energy and then push on the arm. Okay, you guys freaked out yet? Oh my gosh, chairs are flying. Okay, how many people here want to fix this? Anybody want this fixed? Yeah, you got to pay attention to me because I've got the solution. Are you guys surprised a little bit? How weak you were with the negative and how strong you were with the positive? That's happening to you every day. So bring your attention back up here, and I want you to take a moment of reflection to think about what brings you as a person strength. What makes you feel calm and confident and powerful? It could be your God. It could be an animal. It could be a person that you love. It could be a place. You need to feel safe, confident, joyful, full of love. Find that anchor. Find that source of strength. And I want everyone here to take a nice deep inhalation. Fill your body with the strength and power and love of this wonderful anchor that you have. Turn to your buddy, and one of you put your hand out. And I want the person who's pushing on the hand to think all negative thoughts while pushing, while you're holding that wonderful anchor in your mind and body. Go. Okay, now switch. Now the pusher becomes the pushee. Okay, so the person pushing, This time you're going to think negative thoughts about the other person. Other person you're going to resist at the same amount. So fire up the mean machine, hold that deep anchor, and then go ahead and push. Okay, how many people are going to use that? Yeah, excellent. Bring that into your next meeting. You anchor to that place. Does anyone want to share their source of strength? This is personal, so if you don't want to, go ahead, but let's get some ideas of what's out there. Carl?
Say God and my dog Chippy.
Nice. Greg? Your friends. Very good. Anybody else want to share?
My 7-year-old son.
7-year-old son and his goofy teeth. I love it. So it can be anything, as long as it resonates for you. Okay? The last portion of my talk today, I'm going to actually demonstrate some live coaching, and I have someone who's very excited here, Chad. Using profanity already. Profanity is welcome in my practice, by the way.
More nervous than anything.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use one method of thought work to help him run a better practice. So do you remember I said your brain is busy with 70,000 thoughts a day? What the heck are you going to do about that? You got 70,000 thoughts a day?
I guess.
Yeah. So right now, how do you handle thoughts like, I can't do this, I don't want a phone, I don't want to get out of bed?
Yeah, well, the bed thing has to happen. I have 2 kids, so. But the other stuff, sometimes give in, sometimes put my foot down and have to.
Okay. So let's find a more peaceful way, because you hear the word have to. Do you hear the force in that? What if we could remove the force and give him a way to run a practice in a more calm way that's kinder? Because have to sounds kind of like a bully or a must, a should, a have to. It doesn't sound enjoyable. So here's the thing about coaching. It is believed to change your neural pathways. That is why certain types of coaching will literally change your brain so that you don't believe the thought that you used to have anymore, so you don't have to use force or willpower or discipline or just white-knuckling it through change. You genuinely believe something new. So as a coach, I work every day with people to learn what their belief systems are, because there are 2 kinds of pain. One is that I could fall down here and scrape my knee. I could put a Band-Aid on it, and it's just a cut, and I could just go on with my day. The second kind of injury is called dirty pain. That's where I have the same injury. I cut my knee, I put a Band-Aid on, but then I say, I am such a klutz. Boy, am I an idiot. Do you hear the difference? I have just made a completely, unfortunate incident into something even more painful than the cut, right? That's what you're doing with your mind. It's kind of like shrapnel in laundry. Those thoughts go through, and they can really start to shape your reality. If you don't believe that you can prospect because people don't respect you, then you're probably not going to prospect, or you're probably not going to prospect effectively. So what I want to do is help my clients bring about lasting change by changing their minds. So what would you describe as your worst pain point in your practice?
Probably picking up the phone and prospecting.
Okay, which
There's a combo.
which one is worse?
Chicken or the egg.
Pick the worst poison.
The worst poison it will be prospecting.
Prospecting,
Yep.
okay. So what about prospecting specifically causes you pain?
Literally just don't do it.
Don't do it. Why not?
I've kind of always just figured it out.
What do you mean? Say more.
I have a really good close ratio for the people that I meet with, and things have always worked out.
Okay.
So I'm kind of running down a rat race a little bit. Eventually, I know it's going to catch up to me if I don't.
Okay. So do you want to start prospecting?
I do.
Okay. So what is your number one excuse for not prospecting?
Forgetting.
Forgetting. Forgetting. Anyone else forget?
Or running out of time.
Running out of time is also my favorite. Because can you really run out of time? I mean, you're leading the meeting, right? So those kinds of errors of forgetting or running out of time are usually because we don't want to do the thing. Because there's something about the thing that hurts too much. So what about prospecting specifically hurts? What do you make it mean if someone, for example, says, no, I don't want to give you any names? Is there something right there that you are avoiding that you don't want to feel?
If they say no, or if there's no names that are given, or 1 or 2, or they give me can't think of anyone, I'd say that it undermines the work that we've done.
Okay.
And they don't think that I'm valuable, which
Okay.
pisses me off.
All right, so right there, you have what's called dirty pain. That if my clients don't give me prospects, it undermines our work. They don't value me. Do you hear it? So on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you believe that's true?
That
10.
I feel like that if they don't give me prospects?
Yes,
Like a 9?
a 9. Okay. So is it true that if a client doesn't give you a prospect, they don't value you?
I think you'd have to ask them individually.
I'm asking you, see
Okay.
if you can just say, yes, that thought is true, or no, that thought is not true.
More than likely, the thought is not true.
Okay. So what happens and how do you react when you do think the thought that the client doesn't value you when they don't give you QSs?
I just kind of table it for a later date
Okay.
and let it go.
How does that feel in your body? Do you have an emotional reaction? Do you get a pit in your stomach? Do you tense up? How do you react when you're sitting there thinking, you don't value this relationship?
Hold it in, kind of pisses me off, and it's like, really?
Where do you feel pissed off? Every
Probably-
emotion has a physical location.
Yeah. I think I would go more head than anything.
Okay.
Just because I think about all the possibilities that I'm missing out on because they're not giving me anyone.
You
to
sound a
reach out
little
to.
angry. I
For
could
sure.
be wrong. Okay, so it's anger?
Yeah.
Can you find anger in your body?
Yeah, it'd be definitely in my stomach.
In your stomach. And is it like a clenchy feeling or is it like a knot? What is the feeling?
Probably more of a clinching.
Okay. So take a deep breath now. And I want you to use your imagination that somehow there's been this strange misunderstanding, and it turns out that thought isn't true. In fact, it was never true. Who would you be if you did not believe that thought? You didn't believe that clients don't value you if they don't give you QSs.
Yeah, a better version of myself, but that's kind of the cliche answer,
It's a great answer because what better version is there?
right?
I mean, if you can be your authentic self, you're going to be great. But what else do you feel? Do you feel the anger? Do you feel the tension? Do you feel that pissed off feeling?
No,
Okay. What else do you notice?
that maybe they just really at that time or down the road that they will have people that they do value our relationship and the work that we've done.
Okay. So you've kind of let go of this idea that they're kind of resisting or undermining and that it's just happening the way it is. So this can kind of point you to this concept. If you have a piece of paper that you can write 3 circles on in front of you, one of those is called my business. The other one is called your business. And the third one is called God's business. God's business is like floods and tornadoes and your loved one getting sick and your own mortality, things that are much bigger than you, things you have no control or power over. My business is what you have control over. It's whether you make time to prospect. It's whether you believe in yourself as you're prospecting. It's believing that it's worth it prospecting, right? All the things that you regulate as far as your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions, all of those things. And then your business in this case is that client. He was in the client's business in the beginning. Did you hear it? That client is undermining me. That client doesn't value me. Do you have any way of knowing that?
No, but I mean, if I'm referred to that client, they don't refer me to anyone else, and I put them in a better spot, that's my feeling.
So it
Those
sounds
are
like you have a
non-negotiable.
story about this then. By
Oh, yeah, I've
story,
had
I
it.
mean, if someone doesn't give me a referral, it means something. And it usually, as humans, means something negative. Where we don't have information, we insert negative facts, like, I'm too young. I'm not experienced enough. I haven't proven myself. I'll wait till after the PPA because then they'll know how good I am, right? That's all story. It's all mental clutter. It's not real. It's in your head. Your client has no idea you're thinking all these things. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if you step out of their business completely? And you stand in your business. You can ask if you want to or not ask.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no story about why they will or will not cooperate. How does that affect you as far as feeling like you want to prospect?
Well, it's my choice if I want to prospect with that client or not.
Yeah, there's no longer this like icky, like kind of thing under the surface of it means something really awful if they don't want to. So this is how you can take back your power. Because as long as you think that people are rejecting you, judging you, then you're probably not likely to do things that will benefit you. But that's all a story. It's not true. So now you're free to be able to do what's in your best interest without any kind of entanglement in that other person's business. So I encourage you to ask yourself this question frequently. Whose business am I in right now? Am I in my business, or am I making up stories about you or you or you? So for the last part, we're going to turn this thought around.
Okay.
One we can do is turn it to the opposite and say, the client does value me if they don't give referrals. We could also turn it to the self. I don't value me if the client doesn't give me referrals. We could also turn it to the client. The client doesn't value themselves if they don't give me QSs. Which of those feels the most true?
I was waiting for a fourth one.
We can come up with one if you want.
The client doesn't value their friends or relationships that they have outside of themselves.
Okay, very good. So can you give me 3 reasons why that's actually more true than the original thought?
Because obviously being in the business, you care. By passing along a name, you're not telling someone that they have to work with them or anything like that. It's just like, hey, a validation of saying, I care about you. I have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
But I've really enjoyed the process and everything where, this person has put me through.
Great. Give me 2 more reasons.
That was like 3 in 1.
I'm a stickler. Need my evidence.
I guess. 2 more reasons why that one's better than all the other ones.
Why it's more true. Why it's more true that they're not valuing themselves when they don't give you a QS. So you basically said
So
they're
one of the most selfish
shortchanging their
things you
loved
can
ones.
do is keep everything to yourself and not give it to other people.
Okay.
The third one would be, any help from
Why
the
are they
audience
hurting
here?
themselves? So let's think about this for a second. They're like, no, I'm not giving you any referrals, right? What else is being stunted? What else is being affected by their resistance, potentially, by them being closed-minded to that?
Probably our relationship that's going on at the time they're
Potentially.
closed off.
Because think about how many times you guys connect. I love what connectors you guys are. Somebody's like, oh, I really need a really good real estate agent. I'll help you. I need a good banker for my refinance. I'll help you, right? This is a two-way street here, right? So the two-way street flows really nicely when you're like, I'll help you, you help me. Kind of like Carl was talking about as far as having somebody who's an advocate, right? You're an advocate for them, they're an advocate for you. That strengthens everything. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you don't believe it at all, and 10 you completely believe it, how much do you believe your original thought now that clients who don't give you referrals don't value you?
I mean, probably like 5 or 6.
Okay, so you see there's already like a huge reduction in how much he believes this. And usually over time, sometimes people will completely drop the thought, but usually as you go through your day now, you'll start seeing evidence that that thought wasn't serving you and that it's not true. So just look for that additional evidence, and you can also use the other 2 turnarounds and support those with evidence to really let go of this thought, because it may have entanglements in the other areas. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Stay after, because you're going to get a free session with me for coming up here and being so vulnerable. Let's give him a hand.
Oh, okay.
I really appreciate you doing this. Question?
Yeah. You said that we create stories that are negative, right? They're
Right.
often negative,
Correct.
but it's in their business. I'm not in my business, I'm in their business when I'm.
It can be both. Yes.
What about when you create the positive view, like, no, they really want to help me?
Mm-hmm.
Am I not in their business still?
So let's back up here to your first point, which is that we tend to make up stories that are negative versus positive, and that's in our DNA. There's a lot of brain science that's come out in the last 15 years, and the most current information talks a lot about what's called the negativity bias, which means that we're born looking for negative things, because that's how our ancestors survived. So if I think that that swirl there could be a snake or a stick, I'm going to think it's a snake, because that's a far safer reaction in case it jumps out and bites me. But it's probably a stick most of the time. So having negative thoughts is not something that you can necessarily change today. But through neuroscience and studying neuroplasticity, which is something that I help my clients with, you can actually change your brain to have it be more positive over time. It's a conscious choice, because we're all factory default setting right at the negativity bias. So don't feel bad if you have negative thoughts. It's then, what do you do with the negative thoughts? How do you respond to them? So by just jamming positive mantras, down your throat and making you feel things that are positive, that doesn't work. If you genuinely believe the shift. So Chad can keep checking in with himself just to ask if he still believes that people aren't valuing him if they give him referrals. If he starts to really see that that's a story he's putting on someone else, and he really does feel that lightness come in that he did when we had him feel without the thought, then he genuinely does feel positive. I'm looking for genuine, real change, not forced happiness or trying to be positive. Because if you're not feeling positive, we need to pay attention to that. Did you have a comment, Chad?
I guess I just had a question on why is it that everyone, like say you go to a great restaurant, right? You're going to go tell 10 people why you can get out of the restaurant or people what just in passing, I want you to do this. Why is it such a big difference in financial planning when you're having that conversation? You had a great experience. So everyone's so reluctant. Maybe that's an open-ended question and that's people for later. But I just have a hard time with that. I mean, I do have advocates, but it's like, of all the work that we've done, why isn't everyone that?
So right there, you have a belief. So he wants to know that, when people go out to a nice restaurant, they think, oh, I had a nice time at the restaurant. And then maybe they tell their friends, there's this great restaurant. It's so fabulous, you should go. But why don't they do that with their financial advisor? Well, let's think about what's different between a restaurant and an advisor. Don't talk in public about your finances. Yep, what else? Deeply personal. Advisor reaching out to them. Might hound them. Yeah?
Because we're fighting against decades of people with bad reputations.
All right, decades of people out there with bad reputations. So, Wolf of Wall Street, right? That may be some people's, well, I think that's extremely exaggerated for most, but there are people out there who have ideas, right? So that's their story, that's in their business. But Chad, what's in your business is what you believe about them. Because if you go out into the world and you think, you all have a negative feeling about my profession, I'm like a shady used car salesman, then you know what? They'll probably think that about you. We have a powerful ability to impact our daily lives with our thoughts. So that's why if you are having thoughts like that, it's great if you work with a coach to be able to get to it in your own business, clear it, so you're not carrying that thought around with you all day and then shocked when it comes back in that entrepreneur's mirror of like, wow, that's how I feel about myself. It could be. So consider coaching as an investment. I expect that my client's production is going to go way up when we're working together. That's an absolute expectation. But I'm looking at finding the underlying causes of why things aren't working the way they should be. Quick example, I have a rep that I work with regularly who was an amazing phoner. She would routinely be 30 ahead, but her made-to-cap ratio was 45 to 49. So she lost almost half of what she set. We did some coaching around worth and her perceived value of herself and her conviction in setting these meetings. And now her made-to-cap ratio is consistently between 80 and 85. So that's the kind of tangible difference that coaching will bring. You will see it on your client builder. You will see it on your bottom line. It will come back to you many times over. In fact, Carl wrote a testimonial that if we don't have our coaching session, he attributes a loss of revenue of $2,000. So that's a pretty real amount of money. So coaching is just part of the puzzle here, but if you're looking for a different way at this, I respect that you guys know how to run your practices, you know how to run this business. If you're not doing it, there's a reason why. Give yourself some compassion, ask for some help. There are people like me and many other types of me's out there who are here to help you. Don't go it alone, because the best you is right there, and we're trained to bring out the most authentic you, and that's who we all want to meet. So I want to thank you all today, especially Carl Detman, Jason, and Jim Tiedick. Thank you for having me today. Thanks for everyone for sticking around afterward, and it was just a great time getting to know you guys. And those of you who bravely came up here, let's give you guys a quick hand. And thanks again for your time tonight.